I'm going to say this without holding your hand. You do not miss him. You miss the version of who you were becoming in that relationship with him. Welcome back to another episode of The Summer of Me. We are talking about breakups, heartbreak, and genuinely like maybe the real issue behind it and not actually the fact that you are missing that dusty ass man. Some heartbreak is grief for the version of you that you were becoming in that relationship and not necessarily the actual relationship. I have experienced this so many times in my life, actually. You've heard about this relationship, but I had a very real relationship after I got divorced, and I really there were so many parts of me that lit back up in that relationship. Oh, it's so nice to feel loved. And it's so nice to feel like having somebody be passionate about you and all these things. And I liked who I became in certain parts of that relationship to the point where I clung onto it so tight because I wanted to be the version of myself, not because I thought that that person was amazing or the relationship was amazing or any of it for that matter. And so I want to talk about this today, not necessarily because it's something that I'm going through in the moment, but it was a very real learning curve for me. And it's very intoxicating and tempting and addicting, so to speak, to stay in an unhealthy relationship because you like who you are in that relationship, or you like what it offers you, or you like the opportunities it gives you. And I think some of this comes with just awareness and figuring out like, why am I here? When you get into a relationship, when I get into a relationship, I am going 0 to we are homesteading. We are making sourdough bread. We are women. We fantasize, okay? We are women. We meet you and we're like, how is he going to look holding the baby? What are we going to name him? We are women. We fantasize, okay? I don't know a single woman that I am friends with who is single and dating and doesn't meet a guy and be like, oh my God, we could live here together. We could do this. Like, I'm not necessarily ever the girl that's been like, all about the wedding, but I am like, oh, we should have 4 more kids together. Oh my God, he's going to look so cute walking, this person down the aisle. I mean, I am jumping 20 steps ahead on every situation. I've gotten better at this, by the way, because it only leads to deep, dark depression. But it really is such a trap, and it's so easy to do. I really have fallen into the trap of like hope and expectation and fantasy in so many relationships. And it seems innocent and effortless at first. But one of the things that I have learned through this process is like, that is actually sometimes what keeps you in an unhealthy relationship, is the fantasy of like who you could be in this and what hasn't happened yet, but could. We are not out here dating potential, okay? We are not out here thinking about the potential of what this could be. We want the fully potentied. We want to see it come to fruition. And if it's not coming to fruition, we're not thinking about it, okay? Sometimes when you get into a relationship, you are not necessarily thinking about the person. You're thinking about the momentum that person gives you, the wind beneath your wings, so to speak. I look at this and I think that like, in my own experiences, hope is a hell of a drug in this situation. And so you meet somebody and you think like, oh my God, all the things that could be with this person, right? You see like their family and their travels and their life and their friends. And you look at yourself and how can I fit into this? And where is this going to take me? And what is this kind of person is this going to turn me into? And I think that, we get ahead of ourselves and thinking about the potential of what that dynamic could be. And we cling to the hope so deeply. I know for me, somebody who I don't like to feel hopeless. I think hopeless is such a dark feeling. And so anytime I have the chance to cling to hope or to cling to the idea of what somebody could be and how that could impact my life and who I could be in their life and all the things that I could do for them, and I fall into that trap very quickly because it's intoxicating. It's like, this could be so great. And this might be the answer that I've been looking for. This might be the companion that I've been wanting. And this might be, like, oh, the end of my singlehood and the amazing stepfather to my kid. Like I go down that path. I'm not going to lie. I have gone down that path so many times. And what I have realized is that only puts me in that trap. I end up as the main character of that story. And then whoever I'm fantasizing or thinking about all of these things with is so far behind, number one. And number two, like they are on a fully different page. They are in a different story. They are, they might not be the right person for me, or they might be, thinking something completely different. And all of a sudden now I am like trying to mold this relationship into everything that I think it should be based on all of these ideas and fantasies that I've had, instead of taking it for the reality of what it is, which is usually shit, if I'm being totally honest. And so I have learned this, and I have tried to be, and have done actually a really good job of trying to be very cautious about jumping into something too soon, based on the fact that I have to see how it pans out first before I put myself in all of these fantasies and situations. We avoid breakups with people and ending relationships, even if we know deep down like it might not be the right fit for us. We avoid these because social rejection activates brain regions associated with physical pain. So it's not actually just like, oh, this would make me sad if we broke up. It's actually physical. Our brain recognizes it as the same thing as physical pain in our body. And of course, like our brains are designed to avoid that, right? Like there is if you go back to like ancient times and how like we're designed to kind of fight, flight, freeze, like that kind of concept. And we're designed to avoid chaos and rejection and all of these things. Like your brain is naturally going to not want to be broken up with. It's not going to want to even do the breakup, right? Romantic rejection lights up the motivation, reward, addiction related systems. Basically, like you become addicted to this relationship. There is dopamine that happens. There are chemicals that are released when you are in this relationship, even if it's toxic, because you get to be the person who you want to be in this relationship. You get to feel like you're connected to somebody and important and chosen and all these things, but also like you are craving it. Like you actually have a physical response and like desire to it. It's sort of like, I don't know if you guys feel this or if I'm just actually like the psychotic one here, but like when you get a text message on your phone, it's like there's a dopamine hit that comes from that. When you crack a knuckle, did you know that there's a dopamine hit when you crack a knuckle? It's like our body responds physically to those things, right? Like it lights up a part of your brain. And when you're aware of this and you start to experience it, watch the next time you're waiting for a text from somebody and you get that text. It's like, ooh, like it's like a little jolt to your system. And the more you're aware, the more you feel it. And the more you feel it, the more you crave it and are addicted to it. And so I think that when you are in this experience, it takes so much cognitive clarity to move out of it instead of just like letting your body do what it's going to do, which is avoiding the hard conversations, avoiding the breakup, keeping yourself in that toxic situation when really you're only in it because it's allowing you to be who you are, not because it's great and thriving and successful and fulfilling, right? The other reason that we really avoid breakups is because it reduces our self-clarity. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know who I am after a breakup. In the past, I have been broken up with and I'm like, what does everything in my life mean? Now, who am I going to end up with? Where am I going to live? What do I do for fun? What are my hobbies? So much of my life became about these people that I was with that I didn't have very much self-clarity at the end of that. Like I was like, I have to reinvent myself. I have to, and instead of coming into the relationship as like a whole human, this is who I am, love me or hate me, instead of getting into a relationship and that person making you this fantasy of who you think you want to be and who you are. And those two opposing things can really create some tension and make you stay in relationships that maybe aren't healthy because you feel like you get to be this person versus figuring out who you are and owning that part of your story. The truth about all of this, the reality, the terms that I've had to come with is that missing him doesn't necessarily mean he was the right one. It means you miss the expanded version of yourself. I think we all grow in relationships. We become an expanded version. We feel like we are chosen and we have a fuller life and we have friendships and we have connections within that person's world and all these things. And you miss that. Like you miss the idea of what could have been, you miss the reality of what was, but it doesn't necessarily mean you miss the person. And it's important to separate those things out because what I have found, and you've maybe heard people say this, you got to get under to get over or whatever. What I have found is like the things that I miss in relationships, like feeling like I'm part of somebody else's world and feeling like I'm chosen, all those things, those are duplicatable in other relationships. What you can't replace is like the value of somebody and who they are in your life and the quality of that person. And so if you're getting into this and you're like, I'm sticking around because they have an amazing family and they have an amazing community and they make me feel good. And, it feels just good to be in a relationship. It feels too isolating and scary to be alone. You are going to set yourself up for a lot of, unfortunate situations. It's important to remember that sometimes you were the good part of that relationship. You brought the magic. You brought the excitement. You brought the romance. And you still have you. You still get to exist within yourself. It's important to figure out how do I channel that within myself and being alone versus only being able to channel that in a relationship. So here's how you metabolize the grief, okay? I love this phrase, metabolize the grief. How can I alchemize this? How can I make meaning out of the grief that I'm feeling? Because there is no doubt so much grief that happens during a break, honestly, before a breakup, during a breakup, after a breakup. There's so much that happens and it forces us sometimes, we feel like it's just easier to stay in it because I don't want to feel the heavy feelings. I don't want to feel that scary feeling. I don't want to be alone. And I have personally done this. my friends are so tired. They are so tired because I've done this before, you guys, where it's like, I'm just going to stay in it. Like, it's just easier. We have the good times are good. Like, God forsake me if I'm ever in a relationship ever again where I'm like, well, when it's good, it's good. When it's good, it's good. Nah, bitch, I don't want to be in a good relationship. Okay. So here's how you metabolize the grief in this situation and make meaning out of it. Number one, name what the relationship gave you permission to feel within yourself. What did it allow you to feel? It allowed you to feel hopeful. Maybe you felt creative. Maybe you felt supported. Maybe you felt cherished. Maybe you felt empowered. Like figure out like, what is it for you? Think about that relationship. What did I actually, like, every relationship had good parts of it, right? Like there's no way that you would have ever been in the relationship or gotten into it in the first place if it didn't have good parts of it. So figure out what was the magic in it? What did it give me permission to feel? And how did I really what did I take from this? Right. And then build non-relational self-expansion from that place. Okay. Come up with ways that you can learn the same things, that you can go through the same challenges, that you can travel different places, like that you can have bigger experiences. How can you channel all of those things that you had permission to feel in that relationship and move through those and build that in your own life on your own, whether that's through, other ways of companionship or just independently or new experiences or hobbies or, I don't obviously I don't have all the answers, but I do know that these are some of the questions that you have to ask yourself and to dive a little bit deeper, because it is very possible to create 90% of that within yourself. And you already bring it to the table. Sometimes it's just important to realize you're not losing it when that other person leaves. You just have to kind of bring it with you. And sometimes we leave it for that other person. We feel like, oh, I've lost all of this at the death of this relationship. You absolutely have not. You just have to figure out how to facilitate it back in your own life and how to have that self-expansion, if you will. It's how you reclaim this becoming energy. And it's how you become magnetic and attract other people, honestly. And you become this magnetic version of yourself independently. And then you bring all of that into a healthier relationship. And there's so much magic that happens because hopefully that other person is doing the same thing. And you come into that relationship as two whole people instead of looking for somebody who's going to make you that version of yourself, who's going to fulfill all of those voids in your life. You get to fulfill those voids. You get to leave that relationship with yourself and the fullest version of yourself. So the takeaways from this are, number one, don't try to get back with that person if you know that that's the wrong person for you, just for the comfort of the relationship or just because you want to feel that way. Write down 3 things that you became around that person and rebuild from that place. How do I get to be hopeful again? This person made me feel really creative or inspired. Okay, how do I feel creative and inspired on my own? How can I facilitate in my own life those feelings without that person? How can I feel empowered or driven? I know I've dated people in the past that I've stuck with because they motivated me. I had a respect for them of what they've done, in a success realm of business or whatever. How can I facilitate in that in my own life without clinging on to an unhealthy person to get this part of them? You can't, if you're with somebody, you can't just pull out bits and pieces. You have to take them as the whole picture and vice versa. And so I think that we sometimes stick in relationships because it's oh, I love these parts of this person, or he makes me feel all of these things. If all of those things are not qualities that you want and you like, I think that it's important to look in the mirror and reflect, is this the right situation for me? I think the second takeaway is that craving is not always love. Sometimes it is the loss of your identity and you're craving that. You're craving the familiarity of that. And then the last thing is that I want you to choose one expansion activity that you can do this week. I want you to think about how can I become the person that I was in that relationship that I liked? How can I embody the things that felt good in that relationship in my own life? Whether that's I really loved going out to dinner. Good, go out to dinner. Whether it's alone or find a friend, go out to dinner and embody that part. Get dressed up. Feel like it's a date night, but it's not a fucking date night, okay? How can I be more creative? If that person inspired you to be creative, go be creative on your own and expand that part of your life. You don't need other people to help you do that. So all of this to say, I think the breakups are very hard. And sometimes they are hard for painstaking reasons. And we do actually genuinely go through heartbreak. But what I found is sometimes they're just hard because we feel like we've lost ourselves in that relationship and we've lost the most magnetic parts of ourselves. And awareness is sometimes all we need it to bring that back to the table and to kind of put those puzzle pieces back in for ourselves. And that will go a really long way in kind of metabolizing that grief and feeling like you've healed through that relationship. When you realize like, oh, I was the magic there. I was the source of all the good things in that relationship. And I still get to be that person and benefit from all those magnetic things that were about me. So hopefully this helps. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Summer of Me. Thanks for listening to The Summer of Me. You can listen to episodes on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube. Come hang out and follow my chaos on Instagram @KendraForNow. See you next time.